Losing Yourself in the Grind, Rediscovering Identity After 40. Introduction, the wake-up call. There comes a moment, often quiet and unannounced, when you realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. You've spent decades building a career, raising a family, paying bills, and being what everyone else needed you to be. But now, as you cross the threshold of 40, something feels off. It's as if the person in the mirror is a stranger. This book is for that moment. This book is for you. Chapter 1, The Disappearing Act. How identity is subtly lost in the pursuit of responsibility. Common signs: emotional numbness, lack of hobbies, routine-induced boredom. Stories of people who woke up at 40 feeling like they'd been on autopilot. Chapter 1, The Disappearing Act. There was a time you knew who you were. Maybe it was in your 20s when your passions burned bright, when you believed the world was yours to shape. Or maybe it was earlier, in the simplicity of childhood, when you knew what made you happy without needing to explain it. Back then, your identity felt effortless, unburdened by expectations. You were a dreamer, an artist, a builder, a thinker, an adventurer, whatever you wanted to be. But over the years, something began to change. Without realizing it, your identity started to fade. Not all at once, not in some dramatic vanishing act, but little by little, piece by piece. You became what the world needed you to be. A provider, a parent, a leader, a worker, a fixer, a supporter, a protector. Each new title added to your resume came at the subtle cost of something else: your time, your voice, your creativity, yourself. You didn't notice it at first. After all, it felt noble. Right, even? The responsibilities you took on were important, they are important. But the problem isn't responsibility. The problem is losing your sense of self within it. That's the disappearing act. The signs you've lost touch with yourself. It often begins with a quiet discontent. Nothing seems wrong on the surface. You have the job, the home, the family, maybe even the status or respect you once craved. But there's an uneasiness, a dullness, like you're living on mute. Here are a few signs the disappearing act might be happening in your life. You can't remember the last time you did something just for fun. You feel like you're performing a role more than living a life. You have no clear answer when asked, what makes you happy? Your conversations are mostly about obligations, not passions. You feel guilt or anxiety when you think about taking time for yourself. You often feel numb, indifferent, or stuck even when nothing is wrong. These signs aren't failures. They're signals. Your inner voice trying to get your attention. The trap of being a good adult. For many of us, the transition into adulthood meant giving up parts of ourselves for the greater good, and rightly so. Maturity demands sacrifice. But when the sacrifice is total, when your entire identity is consumed by duties, you begin to disappear. Society rarely encourages us to maintain a strong sense of self once we become adults. Especially after 40, we're expected to have settled into our roles, stable, responsible, consistent. Change is often seen as a red flag. Reinvention? A midlife crisis. Soul-searching? Indulgent. But here's the truth: there's nothing selfish about wanting to feel alive again. You're not alone. This disappearing act is more common than most people admit. Millions of men and women reach their 40s and realize they've become strangers to themselves. They've spent so long chasing success or being dependable that they don't know what lights them up anymore. And that realization can feel terrifying. But it's also the beginning of something beautiful. Because the first step to rediscovery is recognizing that something has been lost. Now, you get to do the work of bringing yourself back into focus. You get to reintroduce yourself to you. A simple first step. Here's a small but powerful exercise to help begin that process. The lost list. Take 10 to 15 minutes and answer this question honestly. What are the things I used to love that I've stopped doing? Write them all down. It might be reading novels, sketching, hiking, playing the guitar, fixing old cars, writing stories, building things, stargazing, gaming, dancing, traveling, cooking, journaling, fishing, volunteering, or simply daydreaming. This list is a map not of who you used to be, but of the pieces you can reclaim. You haven't truly disappeared. You've just been buried under the grind. And now, slowly, intentionally, you can begin to uncover the version of you that's been waiting to breathe again.